Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Shai Bashem, Kakwadash, Shalom to the 144,000, the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this Prophetic Breakdowns, Antiochus. The fourth had nothing to do with the dragon. So this is a video that myself, Apostle Gabar, and Bishop Sakaran was listening to on the way back from the camp, around about 7-ish or so. And normally Bishop Nathaniel is teaching at this slot, this time period. So we don't know if he's out of town or whatever the case may be. But Malachi or Deacon Malachi or whatever been, at the helm this week and the week before. I don't know about last week. I believe it was, this week and the week before. We were just listening, and he was going in. But he got up to this part right here. This is, and this is not so much of a diss. This is a correction. If you find your brother in the fault, either with your spiritual restore such a one in the spirit of meekness. So, you see the sign here. I don't know how long I'm going to make this. So it says 7 heads, Greece, Rome, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, Great Britain. Russia was never part of the original ancient, let's say, 2,000 years ago beast. Russia was never part of it. Russia didn't even come on the scene until 860, 865 AD, or a CE, Common Era, which they call AD, Anno Domini, year of our Lord. The Roman Empire, the Edomite part of the Roman Empire, really went down. All they had was about 150 years of rulership, and they went down. They started going down in 95 with the last emperor, Domitian. You can look it up. After Domitian, the first Jake emperor was Nerva. As I go through this, been going through this many times, and that's when Jake began to rule. But you had Esau still in high position, just as you had Jake in high positions even when Esau was in power. Even when Esau was in power, you had Jake coming up in high positions. So the same thing, when they started going down, you had Jake coming up into higher positions and Esau kind of going down. As you can see, this system is going down. Economically, they're dealing with wars, people protesting. There's so many different news outlets out there that you don't have to listen to the American news, CNNs, the Fox Newses and so forth, the Newsmax and so forth. You can watch the Euro News, the Al Jazeera, English. There's so many different news cycles out there. You got the alternative news, which are people on YouTube that kind of, some of them get kicked off because you get another side of the news. You don't get one side of the news. So, people see that this man's going down all around the world. So they see the weakness of the system. Anyway, I'm sipping on another detox. And Apostle Gabar is on a detox himself. See, this detox that we do is a maintenance. Really, you're supposed to do it. You did it the first initial time, and you do it as a maintenance. It could be every 3 months. It could be every 4 months. So if it's every 4 months, it's 3 times in a year. Or every 4 months is 3 times in a year. Every 3 months is 4 times in a year. So if you do it in December, January, February, March, you do it in March, and so forth. Anyway, so like I said, Russia, and we did videos saying that the IUIC is going off when they put Russia in there. but they got it from the main teachers at One West. One West used to always say Russia. Russia was never a part of the original seven horns. I mean the seven heads. I'm sorry. The eighth head came out of America, which came out of not the seventh, but the seven. And this is Rome all over again. Greece took a lot of the power of the Persians, Medo-Persian Empire. So they took, now at that time, the Persians, Elam, they had 127 provinces, which represents states. So the U.S. would be 50 provinces. So that's how vast the Persian, Medo-Persian, or the Persian Empire was. And so when Greece took it over, Greece took all that land. Anything that they had, they took. When Rome took all the land that Greece had. So Greece was under Rome. Spain, part of the Roman Empire, because they defeated the Spaniards. The French, which are the Gauls. The Germans. And then Great Britain. And when you go into the history of the origins of Great Britain, let me do this. Let me do this here. Okay. Everybody's making interpretations of the movie Leave the World Behind. Now, one brother elder in GMS had put up a video saying that the prequel to that is Mr. Robot. I got to watch the whole video. So many things happening, you can't even keep up with all these different videos that come up. You can't even keep up with all of them. Anyway, okay, let me do this. The history of Great Britain.
According to Wikipedia, the United Kingdom has evolved from a series of annexations, unions and separations of constituent countries over several hundred years. The Treaty of Union between the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Scotland in 1707 resulted in their unification to become the Kingdom of Great Britain.
Okay, I wanted to go, let me do this. Let me do it this way. Ancient England.
According to Wikipedia, Anglo-Saxon England or early medieval England, existing from the 5th to the 11th centuries from soon after the end of Roman Britain until the Norman conquest in 1066, consisted of various Anglo-Saxon kingdoms until 927, when it was united as the Kingdom of England by King Aethelstan.
Okay, so let's do a little reading. A history of England. In AD 43, that's when the Romans were in power. The Roman conquest of Britain began. So when you come back over here, Great Britain was a part of the Roman Empire. During what time period? 43 AD. So let's come back. So in AD 43, this was during the time when you had the apostles on the scene. Yahushua had died like 10 years and rose back up. So this was during the time of right before Nero, Donald, aka Donald Trump. Nero's back here. That's definitely Donald Trump. You had Claudius, which was his stepfather. Claudius was married to Nero's mother, and she set this man up to get him put to death. He got put to death so she can assume the role as an emperor, but his son assumed that role and killed his mother, killed his own mother. Nero killed his own mother. That's how these Edomites are. They like killing each other. So when they took Great Britain, that was 43 AD. It says the Roman conquest of Great Britain, the Romans maintained control of their province of Brittany until the early 5th century. The 5th century was the 400s, which we were in power. The end of Roman rule in, let me read this, Anglo-Saxon England, or early medieval England, existing from the 5th to 11th century. So we're talking about 400 AD to 1000 AD. Jake was in that power seat at that time as well. Centuries from soon after the end of Roman Britain until the Norman conquest in 1066. It was a crucial year right there. Consisted of various Anglo-Saxon kingdoms until 927, when it was united as the Kingdom of England by King Ethelstan. Whatever. I mean, I'm not going to go all into it. So England was definitely a part of the Roman Empire. Key year was they conquered them in, come back over here, conquered them in 43 AD. Wait a minute. Okay, let's do this. Ancient Rome took over Germany. The ambush that changed history of Rome itself and halted the empire conquest of Germany. This was a battle that changed the course of history. Okay, did ancient Rome conquer Germany? Let's get to the history here. The Roman Republic and later the Roman Empire was one of the biggest, most powerful, and most respected or feared emperors our world has ever seen. Still, the Roman never did conquer the whole of Germany, but it conquered parts of it because they had many wars. The first scene of Gladiator was a war with Germany, so they had part of Germany, but they didn't get all of Germany, although they were quite actively trying to, at least for some time. So let's go back. Let's go to one more. Let's go to France. French. The Roman conquest of France.
According to France this way, the conquest of the region by the Romans began in the 2nd-1st centuries BC, and continued with the Gallic Wars, led by Julius Caesar, between 58 BC and 51 BC.
Okay, the area that was known as Gaul, which are the French, that's the word Gaul. In Roman times, including modern France and also Belgium, Luxembourg, which is connected to France, they also go under the ban of France. And western parts of Germany, because Rome got part of Germany. The conquest of the region by the Romans, conquered what part? Began in the 2nd and 1st centuries BC. That's when Rome was coming up into power. And continued with the Gaelic. Gaelic goes back to Gaul. So the Gaelic wars are the wars between the Roman Empire and French, led by Julius Caesar between 58 BC and 51. When did the Roman Empire take France? So he gives you some more history here. Now let me do this just to show you that Russia is not a part of the ancient Roman Empire, and it's definitely not a part of this current empire. NATO was set up as a blocker to the Russian aggression. Let me put this in here. I'm going to say it like this. Rome's conquest of Russia. Let's see what comes up.
According to Quora, the simple answer is that they didn't exist at the same time. The last Roman emperor was in the 5th century AD, and Moscow didn't exist till the 13th, and the Tsardom of Russia didn't come about till the late 16th century.
Did y'all hear that? Let me read that. So y'all got to correct. Look, IUIC, you got to correct that, man. Because it would have been in the history. Stop saying... Stop regurgitating what you learned from the 7. How does it go? He used to have us recite it. And we recited because we never went into the history. We said we ain't going to question the 7. 7 heads. How ironic. Okay, go on to the 7, brother. The Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, the Germans, the Russians, and the British. And out of Great Britain came America. Good, very good, brother, very good. Well, Russia, you got to take Russia out. And you got to replace it with Germany. Germany, it should be Greece, Rome, Spain, French, German, Great Britain. Why would I say German 2 times? Because there was a Germanium major and a Germanium minor. You understand? You want me to show you that? So I went to the Greece. We know that Rome came after Greece, right? It became a greater empire than the Greeks. Spain, we can go into Spain. When did the Romans take Spain? It'll give you about that time. We can go into that. French, we did. Germany, we did. It didn't take all of Germany. They had constant wars with Germany, but it took parts of Germany. But then we went to Russia. Because you're going to say that and you roll up on a Bible historian that's going to laugh you to scorn. It said the simple answer is that they didn't exist at the same time. The last Roman emperor was in the 5th century AD. Which that was, that's when Jake was ruling. We got Esau out of there a long time ago. And Moscow didn't exist, which Moscow goes back to the Hebrew words, which goes back to Meshech. Russia goes back to 2 Hebrew words. Ra'ash Shah, chief prince. Russia's chief prince in Hebrew. Russia was started by Jake, black Russians, so you can understand. Scythians exist. They didn't exist until the 1300s. Really, they started to come into some power in the 800. Mid 800s, but they really came into power in the 1300s. It says, and the Tsardom, which is kind of Russian way of saying Caesar is Tsar. In Germany, it's what is it? Tsar. right? Or Caesar. It says Tsardom of Russia didn't come about till the late 16th century. So stop it. Stop it. You're going to have a scholar roll up on you. But you know what you guys like to do? You like to overtalk people. So if somebody's getting ready to say something that's going to knock what you're saying, you overtalk them. And you can't. Hey, the scripture said, come, let us reason together. It said, be always ready to give an answer to them that ask. So sometime with all that railing, you got to stop and listen to what the person says. So stop it. Get some help. Russia was never part of the Roman Empire. Let me read again. The simple answer is that there's a term called Occam's razor. Look that up. The simple answer is, Occam's razor, that they didn't exist at the same time. So it's humanly impossible. Let me give you an example. Do you know that Jack Johnson fought Muhammad Ali in an exhibition? Anybody that knows boxing will say, first of all, they wasn't living in the same time period, man. They wasn't living in the same time. If Ali was born, maybe Ali fought him when he was 1 year old. Or I'll give you another example. The Civil War in America took place in 53 BC. What is somebody with intelligence going to tell you? They said, first of all, America wasn't even around. The 13 colonies wasn't even around. So when you make statements like this, when you make statements saying Russia is a part of the ten horns, all I got to do is say, when did Rome conquer Russia? At that time, that was no man's land. So you got to change it. So now let's listen to it. Let's listen to it. Now let's see if he actually changed it. He did change the lake of fire. He said that the lake of fire was a eternal place where your soul burns in hell, and Israelites are going to burn in hell too forever and ever. So your mama, you ain't going to see your mama again. You ain't going to see your children again. You ain't going to see your father again. You ain't going to see your favorite cousin or your favorite uncle that you used to hook up with anytime they had a family reunion, because they're all going to be burned in hell. Now, let's say your mother or your grandmother want to go walk to the store, and there's gunfights going on in the street. There's gunfights going on and people are getting shot up. You stay in the house, right? So if she said, I want to go get something from the store, I'll go by myself. I'm going to take the dog with me. You're going to say no. You're going to block her. You're going to definitely block your mother or your grandmother, because what's going to happen? They're most definitely going to get shot and killed. So if these guys actually believe that Israelites that are not right with the Most High are going to burn in hell forever, trillion years, that's just the beginning. Trillion years, that's just the startup compared to forever. Ain't you going to scream at you, call your mother every day, look, you got to get right. You got to become an Israelite. You got to trust in the Lord, because you're going to burn in hell. They hang the phone up. You're going to call them again. You're going to call your cousin. You're going to jump in their face. You're going to have signs. You're going to be all up in their face, man. So Bishop Nate or Nathaniel came to his senses, but he didn't do a video on it, because there's still videos of IUIC, different camps teaching that the lake of fire is an eternal spiritual hell that Israelites are going to burn to, as well as other nations. So he had changed it, but he didn't officially change it by doing the video and saying, this is an order, take down your videos. So this is another thing. So Malachi, you, or Deacon Malachi, you seem like a man that have sense. You got to stop. Hey, as Michael Jordan said, stop it. Get some help. So you got to, but let me see them. I'm going to watch them and see if they're going to change it or keep it the same way. Because I just proved to you. The scriptures say, prove all things and hold fast to that which is good, right? And this thing is not open to interpretation like the movie Leave the World Behind. Everybody got their take on what this symbol means and what that means. Doesn't necessarily mean you're 100% right. So now let's listen. I'm not going to make this much longer. You got to study because remember, you're dealing with Edomite scholars and they're watching every video to see if there's holes in it. So when they come at you and they ask you a certain question, believe me, they don't went through this question that they're going to ask you because they said, we're going to ask them this question because they're breaking it down wrong, but we're going to just ask them like a random question to see what they say, and once they say it, we got them. That's how Edomites think. So when we go against Esau, we know the Christian world, we already know what they're going to say. John 3:16, we already know what they're going to say. What about the Gentiles in the New Testament? What about Cornelius? We got the answer to all that. We got the answer to Matthew 21, verse 43. I go to a nation to give them, I'm merely paraphrasing, that would keep my charge. I'm just merely paraphrasing. So some fool put that up. I said the answer to that is Romans chapter 11. That's talking about the wild branches olive branch that was grafted in. The wild olive branch represent Israel that lost the fact that they were Israelites. Like Cornelius. Cornelius lost the fact that he was an Israelite because his parents didn't teach him that, but he came to the realization that he's an Israelite. Timothy came to the realization that he was an Israelite, even though his father was a Greek, meaning he was an Israelite, following the ways of the Greeks. So now let's listen. I'm not going to make this much longer, but, I was thinking of a video to do. This came up, so I said, let me say something on it.
8, when you read Revelation 17, is America. All right? It's really 8 heads. Okay? No, the 10 horns is Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Germany,
let me come
United
back.
Kingdom, Italy, Greece, France, Denmark.
Actually, they had ancient names.
In the
Franks,
1800s,
the Gauls,
in the 14th
the
century or something
Visigoths,
like
the
that.
Vandals.
Okay, it showed Job being swallowed by Leviathan, a dragon. It was not no big fish that swallowed Job. Hear me, Jonah. Jonah wasn't swallowed by no big fish. It was Leviathan. Okay. Leviathan, that's what this shows right here. It's a sea creature, a sea serpent. You all understand? Leviathan is a sea serpent. Okay? So, you can take that off the screen. And it's also called a what? Dragon. You all understand? So, dragon, Leviathan is talking about the same creature. It's that ferocious creature that the Lord created in the beginning. Okay? No. I want you to go to, hey, let me see some more picture of the ferocious creature, man. I think you all had some there. Put it up there, Leviathan. No. Where I'm at?
This was 2nd Ezra 6, we in 52.
About Leviathan?
Right.
I don't want no more. You got more on there? I don't want no more on Leviathan.
It was at Revelations 12.
Revelation 12. Go back there and read that for me.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon.
So, it's referring to that great red dragon. It says red. Why? Because what does the word Edom mean? Edom mean red. It's identifying that serpent. It's identifying, it's talking about who? The so-called white man.
You want to check something? Bear with me for a minute. History of the ancient Roman Empire.
According to Milwaukee Public Museum, Imperial Rome. In AD 286, the Roman Empire was split into Eastern and Western empires, each ruled by its own emperor. The Western Empire suffered several Gothic invasions and, in AD 455, was sacked by Vandals. Rome continued to decline after that until AD 476 when the Western Roman Empire came to an end.
Yeah, we were already in power, but that was the beginning of the Dark Ages when Jake was fully in power. Anyway, Imperial Rome, right? 31 BC to AD 476. 31 BC. That's what I wanted. So I just wanted to get that. That's just for me. Let me come back over here.
It's the 7th part. No, I send you all a Leviathan. I send you all some on Telegram. Can you look at that? Read on.
Namely, the moist.
No more. You got more on there? I don't want no more on Leviathan.
Hold, a great red dragon.
Read on.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
So that great red dragon have 7 heads and 10 horns.
Okay, so now this is John on the Isle of Patmos. This was during the reign of Domitian, which was the last Edomite Roman Empire. Then Nerva came in. John at that time had to be, if he wasn't 100 years old, he was close to it. He was up in age.
Right? 7 heads and 10 horns. Now read on.
And 7 crowns upon his heads.
So now, what I want to show you all, right? Jump to verse 6? Satan the devil. Jump to verse 9.
Verse 9. And the great dragon.
So this great dragon, this is what I want to show you all. The dragon is referred to as what? Read on.
And the dragon was cast out.
Was cast out. Read on.
That old serpent.
So the dragon is also referred to as who?
Old serpent.
So the dragon is referred to as that old serpent. You all understand? Read on.
Called the devil.
So the dragon or the serpent is also called what?
The devil.
The devil. Read on.
And Satan.
And who? What's another term for him?
Satan.
It's all talking about that spiritual demon Satan and his children.
That's
you all understand? They work together. They are interchangeable. You understand? Because the spiritual demon, who does he use to deceive the earth? Who have he used to deceive the earth? He used his children. The power that he have, the power the white man have, who gave him that power? Satan. You all understand? He are the one, his physical counterpart is his children. You understand? And he is the spiritual counterpart. You understand? No. Read that again.
And verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out.
So that great dragon, read on.
That old serpent.
The old serpent.
Called the devil.
Called the devil.
And Satan.
And Satan. Now what I'm going to show you all, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, I'm going to show you all how he relates to the so-called Israelis, the people that's living in that land today. You understand? Because there's a deep bond between them two. Okay? Go back to Revelation 12 and keep reading.
That was 12. You want to go back from
Revelation 12 and the verse 3, where you was at? Was
Revelation? Yeah, it was 3. Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Read on.
And 7 crowns upon his heads.
Read on.
And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the ground.
So what does it mean when it says it tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven and cast them to the ground? Now the stars of heaven was how much stars we saw up there? 12, right? So a third of 12 is how much?
A third is 4.
3.
No, a third is 4.
Yeah, it was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. A third of them was cast down to the ground by that dragon, by the tail of the dragon.
Three parts.
Not the heads, the tail. You feel what I'm saying? So what it's doing is going what? Back in history. You feel what I'm saying? Okay? Because it show the 7 heads being established and all of that, then it go back in history. And it says the tail drew the third part of the stars and did cast them to the ground. Now let me give a precept to explain that.
He was dead wrong on that. He was dead wrong on that. He's saying now that the tail
go to
part
John. Let's see what's
Greek,
that tail. John 11 and 48.
John chapter 11, verse 48. And if we let him thus alone.
It says, if we let him thus alone, meaning Christ, read on.
All men will believe on him.
Read on.
And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
So who was ruling over Jerusalem at that time? Rome. So they said Rome going to come and take away our place and our position. Because the land of Israel, our people, was subjugated by Rome. You understand? They tell you a third part of us down to the ground. No, go to Daniel 8 and 10. Daniel 8 and 10.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host of the stars to the ground.
So the sum of the host of the stars that was cast down to the ground was who? No, star that was, where you read that? 25?
That was 10.
That has nothing to do with that.
8 and 10.
That has nothing to do with that.
Verse 8. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great.
So the he-goat was who? Was Alexander the Great, the Greek. Read on.
And when he was strong,
and when Alexander was strong, read on.
The great horn was broken.
Meaning he died. Bible prophecy. Read on.
And for it came up 4 notable ones.
So 4 notable ones came up. Okay, read on. Meaning the 4 generals that came up when Alexander died. Read on.
Toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Read on.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn.
That's Antiochus. Read on.
Which waxed exceeding great.
Read on.
Toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land.
The pleasant land is the land of Israel. He was waxed strong towards our land. Read on.
And it waxed great.
Read on.
Even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host of the stars to the ground.
Yes, that the Greeks did do that. The Greeks did do this. Just like the Babylonians cast down some of the stars. Just like the Assyrians cast down most of the stars. Just like the Persian and Medes took over the Babylonians. And then the Greeks came. All those kingdoms that took us down cast us down, meaning made us subject unto them. That's all that means. So in Revelation chapter 12 and 3, it's talking about the Roman Empire casting us down. That was during the time, and he goes into it, but that has nothing to do with the Greeks. You can't equate Revelation chapter 12 verse 3 with anything that has to do with Antiochus or the Greeks. And say, well, the tail part of it represents the Greeks. Represents Alexander and the 4 generals and ultimately Antiochus Epiphanes. No, it's not talking about that. That was during the time when, first of all, we were taken down by the Romans. So that's before the birth of Yahushua. When Yahushua was about to be born, or when he was born, it was Herod that wanted, which was a part of the dragon because he's Edomite, because he's part of the Roman Empire, who wanted the child not to be born. It wasn't necessarily the Romans, because they wasn't talking about a prophecy is going to come and take this kingdom down. It was the Herodians, because they knew the history that a Messiah was going to be born. Remember, they were raised up as Israelites, which they were not. They were tears. So it sounds good, but it ain't. You ain't got it right.
See, it's saying the same thing. Who was the stars that was cast down to the ground at that time? Because who did this? Antiochus.
When the Babylonians took us down, the stars were cast down to the ground. When the Assyrians took the northern kingdom, the stars, more than 2/3 of the stars were cast down. When the Babylonians came, when the Persians took over, when the Greeks took over, they cast us down. When the Romans came, they cast us down. So they made Palestine a province of Rome. And the proof that we were cast down is the fact that we had to pay them taxes.
Antiochus, right? Who did he cast down? Was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You understand? He subjugated us.
That's true, but Revelation chapter 12, verse 3 has nothing to do with Antiochus Epiphanes or the Greeks.
Most of the other tribes came on this side of the world, and you still had a remnant of the other 10 tribes that was in the land, but it's mainly Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that he came up against. He said the Holy Land. You all understand? Okay, so that's what it means by the third. Go back to Revelation and read that again.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth.
And cast them to the earth. Read on.
And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered.
So why it says a third? Huh? That was southern kingdom. That's the 3 tribes, and you had a remnant of the other tribes living in the land still. Y'all understand?
Okay, let me check this out. It says, this is by Yaiquab. Wait, sir, 1/3 of 12 is 4. There's confusion. So he picked it up. I know what he's talking about. Sometimes when you say a third, you think about 3 parts. All right? 3 parts of 12 would be actually 3. A third part of 12 would actually be 4. I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying. When he said that, he should have said 3 parts instead of a third. I know what he's saying, but you caught it. You caught it. Here it is again. My Lex upgrades 1/3, and I got 12 of 12 equals 4. Which you should have understood. I understand what he was the point that he was getting at. He just used, instead of saying 3 parts, he said a third. 2 different things. Give me a second. Give me a second. Please forgive me, I was expecting a call. Quick call. Anyway, let's listen to a little bit more of this. You know, if we're teaching something and we go off, don't realize it, and another different camp says that we're going off, you gotta swallow your pride and say, yep, they were right. Hey, I'll give you an example. The Sakari the fourth part of the earth or the fourth part of the world. We knew that that was the Americas, but we didn't knew that the Edomites wrote a book and made a map and called it the fourth part of the earth or the fourth part of the world. So when we say it, we give credit to Sakari. So Sakari, the spirit jumped on them to say it. So, you know, we're going to add it to the thing. Because we ain't got no problem saying if Alex Jones made a statement, we'll say it, and we'll say, well, Alex Jones said that, or this guy said that, or Eustace Mullins said that. Okay, let's go.
Read on.
That's right.
And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child.
And the dragon stood before the woman. No. Who is the dragon that stood before the woman to devour her child?
The Roman Empire, and specifically the Antiochus. I'm sorry, Antipater's son, which is Herod the Great. That's what that's talking about. Because they were connected to the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire set them up to be the king of the Israelites, which they look like Israelites. Because remember, Antipater's wife that had them children to set up that dynasty, she was an Israelite. She was a dark-skinned woman. So they looked like they were actually tears. Yahushua Hamashiach mentions that in Matthew's chapter 13, the tears. He was talking about the Herods. And Jakes, you got Edomites that look like Jakes. And then you got Jakes that look like Edomites.
Who wanted to kill baby Jesus when he was born? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. So it says, what you call him what? Yo, Jalil, what you call him what?
Verse 4. And the dragon.
So the dragon is that same serpent. Y'all understand? Read on.
Stood before the woman.
Stood before the woman.
Which was ready to be delivered.
Read on.
For to devour her child.
So the dragon wanted to kill the child. Okay, Satan and his children. I tell you, it's interchangeable. Now let's see who is that dragon that wanted to kill baby Jesus. Let's see.
Baby.
No.
Baby
I want you to
Jesus.
go to Matthew 2:1. Matthew 2:1.
Chapter 2, verse 1. Now Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king.
Yeah, because it was Herod that wanted the baby killed. So he said, look, kill all the actually he said baby. It was actually man-child because he knew the Messiah was going to come in the form of a man. But it doesn't say that. It says babies. But it should say, the word in the Hebrew, if you go into the Hebrew, the word there should be bunyam. Or it could be yalad, which means boy. Or bunyam could mean sons. So the order was to go out to kill the... matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Let me do this right here. I'm not going to say too much longer. Let me do this right here. That's why you got to, research things. You got to go to the importance of going into root words, etymology of words. See this word Israel, you won't understand it. If I was to break down what does Israel mean, I would have to go to the Hebrew. But what if you go to the Greek? Greek is not going to explain it. If you go to the Greek way of saying it would refer you back to the Hebrew. In order for you to understand this word, what does this word really mean? You have to go back to the Hebrew, which is the etymology of the word. And the word is Yah-Shah Allah. Okay. Where did I say I was going to go? Okay, let me come over here. Like I said, I'm not going to be too much longer. I'm trying not to go long, Let me see. There's a new one. Jehovah's Witnesses beards. Now they're allowing. the people are leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses. I would say that men are leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses. And we, as Israelites, we totally influence the Christian world. What are the Christians doing now? The everyday Christian, the church-going Christian that's really think he's in the Bible. That really thinks he's in the Bible, right? They're studying now and going into root words and following us. Even though they come against us, they're following us. They're following us to get their game up. So they're really learning. Now they're growing beards. So now the heads of the Jehovah's Witness are now allowing men, mostly Jake men, to grow beards to keep them in the congregation. Because they all be watching us. But trust me, they all be watching us. Now I forgot where I was going to go. Anyway, I'm not going to really go into it. But if you go to Matthew 2, to the commentary, that's the goddamn phone again. If you go to Matthew 2 to the commentary, most likely it'll say it's talking about boy babies. Give me a second. Please forgive me. Excuse me again. It's like Grand Central Station up in here. Anyway, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Matthew 2. Let me see. Do it this way. Matthew 2. Commentary. Let me go to Bible Hub. Bible Hub. Okay. There we go. Now, when the Lord was born in Bethlehem, Judea, in the days of Herod the king, the Edomite, behold, there came wise men from the east. Let me go to the second verse. Saying the east. Let me go to the third verse. And when Herod came, troubled Jerusalem. Fourth verse. We'll get there. And when the chief priests demand them Christ should be born. Fifth birth. We're getting there. Should just go right to the verse. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? Forgive me. Let me do this. Matthew 2. Matthew 2. Okay, sit down here. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Herod. It was Herod, not the Romans, but he represented part of the tale because he's the Edomite, and he was set up by the Roman Empire. Like when America takes over a country, what do? They don't take the country and say, well, this is part of America, this is province of America. They set up a puppet leader. We all know that. Then Herod, when he was mocked at the wise men in Bethlehem. It says here Bethlehem, and then all the coast thereof from 2 years old and under, according to. Okay, and slew all the children. Let's see what it says. Let's just see what it says. I'm sorry. Let's go to the commentary. That's 16, right? See, this is what Christians don't do. The only Christians that do research are schooled Christians in these theological cemeteries. All right, I'm mocking them. Slew the children. Let's go to that. Let's see what it says. Let's go to Cambridge because normally it's a short one. The saying of the children of Bethlehem, the slaying of the children of Bethlehem, and sent forth and slew. He sent assassins to slay. Well, he sent his men of war, his personal army. It says all the children, literally all the male children. So they know. All the male children. So the word there in the Hebrew, if I have my Hebrew English or Hebrew New Testament, I'll guarantee you it'll say bunyam, sons, or your lad. Here it is. Whether this is to be taken as masculine, a benai, from 2 years old. Benai means a son. Bunyam, sons. Bunya, son. Years onwards. So they know it's talking about, wasn't talking about, here we go, here it is again. The opposite expression, the boys of 2 years old and younger, in order the most unfailingly to attain this purpose. So in the New Testament, in the English, it says all the babies. The word there should have been all the boy babies. So this is the second scholar that said it. Okay, we got it? And the average Christian don't know this. They don't go deep. There's nothing deep about them. So I proved my point. Let's listen to a little bit more and then we'll close. You gotta go. When you study these scriptures, you gotta go. You gotta have a scholarly mind. You gotta go into the maps. You gotta go into time periods. You gotta go into certain names. You gotta go into certain characters that were contemporary with the actual main characters of the scriptures. Like I said, you gotta go into maps. Sometimes you gotta go into the Hebrew. Sometimes you gotta go into the Greek. Why did the commentary, two of them at least, Cambridge was one of them. Why did they say it was actually, two of them. Why did they say it really meant boys? Because they did the research. The children of Israel in the Old Testament, the actual word in the Hebrew is Bunyam Yasha'Allah, the sons of Israel, not the children of Israel. Children means sons, but the women are a part of it. Like I said, you can build the nation back with just men. If you killed all the Israelite women, an Israelite man could get with any woman on the planet and they're going to bring back Israelites. Let's listen to a little bit more and then I'm going to close. So now y'all get the deeper understanding. He's going in. He going in. I give him credit. He getting down, but he goes off every once in a while. Every once in a while.
Behold,
In the day of who?
of Herod the king.
So this Herod the king, who was this guy?
Now it goes to say that he was an Amalekite. There's no real history on that. That's a publication that these guys read from, but you can speculate on that. We know that they were Edomites. We know that Herod, if you look up Herod, any Christian scholar would tell you that, yes, if you ask him, what nationality was Herod? He was an Edomite. They'll tell you that. The Compact Bible Dictionary will tell you that Herod is an Edomite. The son, Herod the Great, is the son of Antipater, which was an Edomite. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. On to the next one. Shalom.